to Blasian Soul Podcast. I'm sorry, Blasian Soul Podcast. This first, episode will basically just be a rundown of what we're doing, what we'll talk about, why we chose to kind of throw our opinion into basic cultural events and what's happening right now. Probably do some raffles, some giveaways. We will have special guests. We have lined up counselors, lawyers, a lot of minority professionals that we feel need a spotlight to show what they do and how they help the community. Go on.
Yeah, so I feel like we have a lot of support doing this, and I love your continued support. Next week will be the first week of our actual like go live, the real podcast. Today we're kind of doing an introduction. So just a little bit about myself, Laura Robertson, and my husband, Marcelo Robertson, and kind of the reason why we decided to do this podcast, which I was shocked that you even wanted to do this with me, because
I'm a marketing major. This was a good idea in my opinion. The Asian community and the black community right now at this time are probably the most vilified cultures right now. And of course the reasons, whether it be factual or not, are because of the pandemic and how people associated that with the Asian community. And for black folks, let's be honest, we've been going through this for quite some time. It seems like it's been exacerbated lately, but it hasn't. It's just been the thought process of everyone has a camera now. There's a lot more transparency, so therefore a lot more instances are being shown, and there's uproar on both sides about what's going on. So, in keeping with that thought process, a Asian and black couple with kids, I guess I would like to consider myself an educated business professional. We felt that we could give our opinions and try to pull away from, some of the negative aspects of the discussion, and let's just deal with facts. Let's deal with how people feel. The reason why I agreed to do it is I'm on social media quite a bit because I'm a marketing manager with a company as well as owning my own digital marketing agency. So I'm on social media quite a bit. And I just kept seeing things that frustrated me, agitated me. I started, discussion is a polite way to say, but discussing back with people on my timeline about certain memes and certain posts that were done, whatever the case or whatever the situation was, it always seemed like it devolved into arguing and name calling and nonsense like that. That I feel is beneath not only me, but beneath a mature adult. You should be able to have a discussion without calling each other names and going at each other. So in this podcast, I guess this, in my opinion, is therapeutic for me because it allows me to have a discussion without it devolving into something it shouldn't be. So when my wife came to me and she was batting around ideas, and she kind of came up with a concept. Now, after she came up with the basic concept, of course, I chimed in with my opinions and my ideas. But I was for it. It sounds like it's a good venue. We can get some honest discussion out there. It's not all. Don't think I'm not a Democrat or a Republican, but don't think just because it's common knowledge that I don't have an affinity for Trump and his administration. So. But just because of that, don't think that I won't value the opposite's opinion. I would love to have Trump supporters on because as long as we can have a good dialogue, an honest dialogue, there will be no name calling here. There will be no outing or chastising people or anything like that. An honest discussion. I want to learn. So this is not only for people to learn about me and my wife and our relationship and how we view things and sometimes how we view things differently, but this is also so that I can learn if someone has a different opinion than I. What do what's your thought process behind that opinion? So whether I agree or not, I can learn from it. So in that aspect, I think it was a good idea.
Yeah, so just to piggyback off of what Marcelo said, this isn't a podcast that's going to be about drama or, black versus white or, you know, Trump versus, whatever. It's not about that. It's about, like Marcelo said, having an open, honest discussion where we could educate each other and kind of come to meetings of the minds and, we could agree to disagree. And that's fine. There's, many people that we both know and love very dearly that might have opposite opinions or opposite, support groups that they're a part of, and that's fine. We just want this to be very educational with a little bit of perspective from both sides and also some education from different professionals that will come and speak to you, relationship professionals and different business tips and business professionals that will give you some success tips and kind of help you during this time that we need the most help in right now. So hopefully this podcast will be fun, engaging, and we'll be able to come together and create something that's going to make a difference.
Also, we will be highlighting small businesses. So if you have a small business out there, give us your information. There's no charge for any of this, but we will highlight a small business once a week. If you have anything you want to give away or anything special that you're donating to or anything of that nature as a business, let us know. We want to help everybody. The special guests that you were referring to are here to help you. One of the reasons that I wanted to have guests and minority guests that are prominent, that are of professional stature, is because one of the things I heard on Facebook was when talking about black culture is that, well, you guys don't have enough role models. You need role models out there to, I guess, show a difference. And I completely disagree. I don't think they are, highlighted enough in today's media, in today's society, period. But there's a ton of business professionals, psychologists, lawyers, you name it. So we're going to have them come on, give us a little bit of background information about them, and then give you guys some tips. We have a few business lawyers that's going to be coming on, giving you tips on how to start a business, what to do, what to not to do, and to kind of dispel some of the rumors. I would love to get a police officer on here to not only discuss some of the things that's happening between law enforcement and certain communities, but also, fact for fact. Let us know, what are our rights. Let's have a lawyer as well as a police officer on here to let us know what are your rights when being pulled over. What are your rights when you are interacting with the police? Because we hear a ton of stuff. One thing that is prevalent with social media, even though it's a good thing, there's a lot of misinformation that's always generated. So, give us a heads up on exactly what is the law and what you should do, and even if you're protesting or you feel like you're being discriminated against, what are the moves you take? I think that would be valuable. We're going to throw some comedy in here. I've been speaking to a few comedians about doing a 2-3 minute skit because I don't want everything to be so serious that I don't want you to leave our podcast and be depressed. So we'll have that. We're gonna, like I said, we're gonna have some giveaways. We're gonna have some debate because we don't agree on everything. That's pretty evident. So that will be kind of what our lineup is. I will be pulling things from social media that either one I feel is a good thought, something that I want to discuss, but also without showing who posted it, to show some of the things that are being displayed on social media. I feel that social media is, and once again, I work with this 24 hours a day as far as social media is concerned, but I feel it is a place where those who might not express their opinion before will gladly express it, and express it to the extent that would borderline on, if not disrespectful, eyebrow raising. So there will be times when I would just show posts on both sides, both Democrat, Republican, both white, both black, that will kind of highlight what I'm talking about, and hopefully it'll give people pause when you're posting something. Herm Edwards is football reference, but he always says when it comes to athletes at 2-3 in the morning when you're about to post something, don't hit send, don't post it. There's nothing good that's going to come out of that. And I believe that we've lost that filter because social media is so easily that sometimes you don't want to say, whether regardless if you believe it or not, there's a certain way to say everything. And I think we've lost that art of communication. So let's point out some of these things so that it can give people pause and maybe think before you post with social media. I guess one of the things we'll do, since we're just kind of giving you guys a brief synopsis of how we'll be talking, what we'll be talking about, is my wife wanted to briefly go through how we met. You know what I'm saying? That might
Look,
be
you
that.
guys. So he even
Hey,
has
this
he
is for
even
real.
has
Hey,
a wrap it up thing because he
Hey.
knows I can go on, and he even has. And I challenge that.
Hey,
So when
wait a
I
minute.
bring stuff up about our relationship,
she will remember things that happened, but there will be details about it that she won't remember, so she'll put something there. So if it was, I remember when you met me, you were drinking a glass of wine. No, I had a Hennessy and Coke. So just small things that I feel that I might have to raise the I challenge flag on. I want to get this done professionally so that I can bring this out. It might be a little like a church fan that I pull up, something along those lines that if I need to challenge something, I feel that I can challenge it. So I'm going to let her go ahead and say her truth.
So yes. So just a little bit about me and my husband. We both grew up. Don't look at your time.
It was hurting my hand. I was just pulling it.
Okay. So my husband and I, the people, our friends and family who know us, we are complete opposite. I'm the extrovert. He's the introvert. So of course I was totally surprised when he said he wanted to do this, but it's for a good cause. So, but just a little bit about us. I'm a refugee, and so growing up, it was all about our culture and our family, and so it wasn't until I got a little bit older that, I became more and more Americanized. However, growing up, like a lot of the songs, a lot of things that he brings up, I often would be like, huh, what is that? So we're total opposite in that sense. Like he knows a lot of the things that I'm like, what? So, and some of my words, because English is my second language, some of my words get very weird, right, babe? Like, and anyways, so that's one of the things in our relationships that is just funny that we work through.
I challenge.
Challenge what?
Okay, she said that we are opposites to a certain degree.
We are.
But she grew up not only in her Asian community, but she was raised outside of her mom. She had like two black moms that raised her.
Not until I left my community because they weren't accepting me.
Right.
Because I was dating black guys.
So by 15, she
on my own.
basically had a black mom that she stayed with when something happened at school. She would go up there and take care of it. She was her guardian. So don't let her fool you.
No,
I don't really know about black folk.
It wasn't until I got into like high school age that I, really got into it. Different cultures and things like that. But anyways,
I'm sorry.
So so that's just a little bit. And my husband and I, when we met, I was a single mother of two girls. My girls were 3 and maybe 1 at the time that I was going through a divorce. And so we had a mutual friend, Kanisha, who I was in a fashion show with her, maybe 20 years ago, babe? Yeah. So about 20 years ago, we were in a fashion show together. And she said, you should come hang out with us tonight. I have this guy that is my boyfriend at the time, my boyfriend's best friend. I think you two will be so compatible to each other. And I said, no, I'm going through a divorce. I'm really not trying to meet anybody right now. No, thank you. And so someone ended up babysitting my 2 kids. So I'm like, oh, I might as well. I don't have anything to do. So I went and met up with Kanisha at The Drink. Those who knew Grand Rapids, I guess that was the spot back then where that was his hangout. So that was his hangout. So I went there that night, and so before Kanisha even introduced us, I was standing there by the bar, and Mr. Marcelo came over to me, and he's like, "Hey,
Oh man, hey, whoa, wait a minute, hold up.
And
Hey y'all, don't think this is not pre-taped. We didn't go over this.
I thought,
You didn't walk past me. You and your girls going to
no, that was the 20 years ago. Wait, that's the second time that we met. So, the first time that we met, I went to the drink, and that's when Kanisha was trying to hook us up. But the weird thing is, he had already approached me, and she walked up to me while I was getting my drink. Can I buy you a drink? Of course. I'm not going to turn down a drink, right? So I got the drink.
It was smoother than that, but
Yeah, so I got the drink, and then Kanisha walks up and like, oh, I was going to introduce you guys, but I see you've already met. So then we're like, we exchanged numbers. We went out a couple of times together. I even remember we went to an Italian restaurant. Then he cooked chicken parmesan for me in his little bachelor pad. And then
little bitch. Nice
and then I went to his basketball game at Ferris. He was in college at Ferris at the time. And wasn't it Ferris University?
No, we were down here in Grand Rapids. It was a Pauli Phillips tournament that we were in, and we won a championship game, and we lost. Okay?
He was so mad.
And,
I was late. I'm always late.
Not only did we lose, she came with
babies.
Fourth quarter, 4 minutes left. She walked through the door. Game over. But I digress. Keep it moving. I'm sorry.
So he was mad. I was at church. Look, sometimes the pastors, they preach a little bit longer.
I was at church.
I was at church at the rec center. At that time, we were at church at the rec center, and it kind of went over because, sometimes you have to let the preacher, preach and let the word out. So I thought I was going to have a sitter, but I didn't. So I had to carry. How old was Asia? Asia was maybe 3 at the time. Tia was 1. So I had one in one hand, and I was carrying Tia's car seat in the other hand. I went knocking on the door. I guess it was over. He comes opening up. He was so mad. And he was like, "It's over."
And then, hey, I give her mad props because she promised me that she was going to come to the game.
And I did.
So I give her props because she brought the babies when she couldn't find a babysitter. So that was cool.
Yes.
Her coming at the end of a championship game that we lost on, Marlon Dorsey, if you're out there, you remember this, was a bit much.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's all good.
I didn't know he lost at the time. I'm just like, oops, he's mad because I'm late, right? So I'm like, okay. So we spoke a few more times, and then at that point, being a single mother, it was really rough. So I had to get some support. So I decided to move back to Elgin with my parents so they can help me out with my girls. And I remember the last time I spoke to him at that time, I think it was 2001 maybe, somewhere around there, or 2003, I don't remember. But anyways, we talked, I called him, we talked. I was on my way, I was riding with, I think, my cousin's lot, and so I was in the back seat, I was on the phone with him, and he's like, oh, I'm back talking to my girlfriend. It's up to you if you want to still continue to talk. And so, I'm like, no. I'm like, no, I'm already going through a divorce. No, we cannot be friends. We can't be anything. And plus, I'm moving to Chicago. So.
I have to
go on.
Okay. No, that's not how it went. She called me. So we're just kicking it on the phone. And she said, oh, I'll kind of be back and forth, come down and whatnot. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. And she was like, so if you want to hang out or something, just let me know. So my response was, we can hang out.
But I just
that's cool. But just to keep everything 100, me and my ex-girlfriend, who had been together for years, we weren't back together, but we were kind of talking it out. So I'm cool. We can still be cool, hang out. I just want to be honest in what's going on.
Yeah.
Well,
I appreciate that.
I wasn't trying to pimp out and nothing like that.
I appreciate that, especially going through with what I was going through. But it was just too much for me at that time. I'm like going through a divorce. I'm moving to Chicago. There's no reason for us to, keep it going. So then I moved to Chicago and I started, doing my own thing. I had a modeling and promotions company, silhouette modeling back then. And so we were doing a lot of parties and promotions, downtown Chicago. And so one day out of the blue, me and my girlfriend, Charlita, one of my BFFs, she started as my model and we became really close friends. But we decided it was just too much going on in Chicago. We're like, let's just go to Grand Rapids, because I was talking to this guy there. So I won't say, don't say who it is.
More to come on that.
Okay, so I was talking to this guy in Grand Rapids at the time, and so so we went to the place where we met the first time. I walked into the club and I was, I was walking in with my girlfriend. Marcelo was standing to the left of me with his friend. I think it was Quasi. And so I saw him, and it was just I admit, I saw you. I just didn't know who you are, but I saw you, and I was attracted to what I saw. And so I walked over to use the bathroom. Like, let's go use the bathroom. So we walked over to the bathroom. I looked at him, I eyed him, and then I walked to the bathroom. When I came out,
let me tell you what my boy seen, because he whispered to me as she passed. He was like, "Hey, it looks like she Asian and black right here. She looking at you." And this is how she walked past. It was kind of like, so I didn't know what was going on. I was oblivious, but continue.
So when I walked away, he tapped me on my shoulders, and I love that he wasn't pushy, so when you're a promoter and when you're out in the nightclub, you hear and see all sorts of things like, oh, I'll do this, I'll do that from guys. And so he wasn't pushy, which is what I liked. And so he tapped me on the back of my shoulder, and he was a little slick. Here's my card. If you want a drink, come find me later, and I'll buy you a drink. I'm like, okay, cool. So so he came and found me later, and he bought me a drink. And then after that, we were getting ready to go, and he asked if he could walk me to my car. And I said, well, yeah, you can, but I have to walk in front of you. So he walked behind me with my friends.
All right, she's skimming over this. This is the good part. This the fiery part right here. Let's make sure.
You know what? I was a little tipsy. I was 20 years old. 20-something.
One of the bouncers at the bar was the cat she was hollering at, which I didn't know. Okay. Part two, I didn't know that he had been trying to chase her all night to holler at her, and she was playing him off. Okay, so this is what I hear before we leave. I'm like, hey, give me a call, this and the other. And she was like, well, no, you can come out with us. Just walk with Charlita. I was like, walk with Charlita? Well, why would I do that? And then Charlita grabs me like this, and she starts walking me out, and Pawn is right in front of us. And I'm like, what's going on? I don't understand. She's like, you see that guy right there? He like Pawn, but she don't want to talk to him. So we trying to make sure he don't. Yeah. So I got involved in some total nonsense. So no, it wasn't. I asked her, even though I did ask her to walk her to her car, it wasn't cut and dry as she's saying.
Yeah.
Continue.
Thank you. So we got to my car, and I got in there, and he was very nice. He was really nice. He said, we'll talk. So that way, my friends, they were knocked out, and I had to drive back to Chicago. Okay, fine. We're going to wrap it up. I had to drive back to Chicago. And so he was very nice. I thought that was very sweet of him, seeing that I just met him. He said, I'm going to talk to you so you'll stay awake or whatever. And so we talked for about 3 hours. And into the conversation, Marcelo said, wait a minute, what's your real name? And I'm like, what do you mean my real name? What's your real name? And I said, my birth name is Nippapon. And he's like, that's what I used to call you. My husband will not call me by Laura, because Laura is my made-up American name, for those of you who don't know. So he was like, well, we've met before, and that's when the whole thing came out that we've already dated. So I don't know, faith or meant to be, whatever. Somehow we got back together, and we started seeing each other more often. And then one thing led to another. We became a blended family. He raised my two girls, Asia and Tia, who are now adults now, and we have two sons of our own and a little grandbaby named Novi. And so it's very interesting, the two different sides of, our family. And my husband, he just recently connected with some of his family in Atlanta, but prior to that, it was just him and Marlon Dorsey, his best friend, Shaq, all of them, those are his family. And so it's really a blessing. When his father passed, we went to Atlanta, and the blessing in disguise was being able to be connected back with his family, who his brother Omar and Uncle Del, and all of his family that we didn't really know even existed. Maybe he did, but prior to that, he's just been with my family, my Laotian family, so my Lao family, and I have yet to find out what goes through his mind when he is sitting there with all of us, because we can get pretty crazy, and we're all talking in our language and all of that. And so him being the only black guy, around the family and stuff, and they're talking in Laos to him sometimes, thinking he'll understand it, but I commend my husband for being so open to our culture. He even became a monk for my mother's funeral, even though that's not something that he practiced. He actually did it out of respect, because he knew that that's what my mother would have wanted. So at my mother's funeral, he did become a monk for a day. So I love that my husband embraces our culture, and all of my family, my crazy family, I love you. So he's become a part of that, and they just became his, family. So
Yes. And secondary note, yeah, Marlon, Shaq, those cats are my family. I do have an FSU family in the building. FSU in the building. Vale, Manny, James Lindsay, all those guys I grew up with. And when I say grew up, I mean grew up to be a man. So I feel that, even though a lot of my biological family I did just meet and that I love, I do have an extended family as well with the people that I kind of grew up with. But that's how we met. So as you see, it's we've been together for a very long time, ups and downs. We know each other, so that's kind of where we're coming from when we can discuss certain things, discuss things about relationships. We've kind of seen it all, and discuss things about culture, where you have two of the oldest cultures known to man right here, as far as Asian and black culture. So I think we can give good perspective. What I want from you guys, we're going to run a little contest. We give $100 out, $100 gift card, Visa gift card. We've gotten a lot of response as far as topics for our upcoming podcast. I mean, I've had, why do I side with Biden when some of the bad things that he's done by being vice president and being a political figure? How could I do Kamala Harris? Shout out to AKAs. How can I side with her when some of the things that she's done as far as incarcerating black men? I've had this is a good one. Why didn't I marry a black woman?
I'm the first Asian, because his friend
She's
thought
the
I was
first
black and
Asian.
Asian.
The only
So
thing
he thought I was black. It's not that he's ever dated an
I
Asian
didn't
person.
say I would think. Well, okay. I've never dated anyone outside of my race, except for I think I've dated one or two Latino women. But to me, Latinos, blacks, that's kissing cousins to me. But that's another one that prompted, and there were some people that were very interested. So you're a black guy, a family man, and you coach your sons and all that. So why can't you find a black woman? Honest question.
Or why am I with a black man?
All right. So, but those are honest questions that
Or I've been told, I didn't know you dated a black guy. If I would be working and my coworkers come and my husband would drop off flowers, oh, I didn't know your husband was black. You don't look like you date a black guy. Like, how am I supposed to look to date a black guy? Like, I don't know. Those are just ignorant things that I hope we could have an open discussion. Like, those are just things that take it off your conversation. Like, that's just rude.
But I want to hear when we see the comments, and we have another system that we're using. We use Facebook Live because for some reason the system was acting up. But we have a whole system, so you guys will be able to. It will be more interactive when our guests are here, and we're tackling a hard topic. So once that is up and running, and by next week it will be, I want people to engage in this conversation. If you feel that there are white people, but there's also black people that feel that you shouldn't date outside your race.
Yeah.
So let's have that discussion. Tell me why you feel like that. Tell me what your thought process is behind that. For people asking me how could I back a Biden-Harris campaign, then let me hear your thoughts on why you're backing a Trump and Pence campaign. Without us, arguing and getting unruly, let's have an open discussion. You know what I'm saying? Admit when your candidate is wrong, but then pump up when your candidate is right, and I can do the same. So these are some of the topics that we're going to have, but I want
How did they win the $100?
That's what I was about to say. I want a good topic. I want one that I have not thought of, and I've just named a few that either I or someone else has posed to me. But I want a good topic. If I choose your topic out of hopefully we get a few submissions on a very good topic, as long as it's not disrespectful to anyone involved, whether it's white, black, Asian, whoever. As long as it's not disrespectful in nature, if I choose your topic as the one that we are going to use, send you a $100 gift certificate. This is from this week until next week, because we have a few lined up. So I want to get this topic in the first 3, 4, 5 podcasts, so that we can address it. And if it works, we can do this on a monthly basis where you guys give us topics that we can take a look at, and see exactly what people think and what people say about it. There will be some debates between me and her because there's some things that she does or agrees with that I don't necessarily. For one, she is Christian in nature, has been since I first met her. I am not Christian. I would say that I don't. Once again, this is another podcast that we'll probably get into, but I don't subscribe to any particular religion. Do I believe there's a creator? There's something higher than us? Yes. You want to call him God? Great. You want to call him Superman? Whatever the case may be. But I believe that life is not an accident. So that's my belief. She is a stout Christian. So those are things that we disagree with. Here's a good one right here.
Oh,
gosh. Check this out. Okay, so I couldn't find my brown tie that goes with this shirt and suit. Okay, so I'm going through. I see about 4 or 5 brown ties. So I pull them out, throw them on the bed. I'm looking, and what I hear is,
oh my goodness,
no, not that one. And I say,
we go through this all the
time. And she
time.
said, no, not that one. And she looks at the bed and says, choose this one. And I said, really? And she said, yeah. I'm like, I don't think that rocks right. I'm going to have to go with another one. And then her best friend, Birdie, who's
cousin,
like my sister, comes over and looks and was like, no, take that tie
Thank
off.
goodness for
You're
her.
going to put this tie on or this tie, and then I change. So there's a tie, you know what I'm saying? There's a style clash going on right now, okay?
I don't think I think it's our 5-year difference.
I don't think this hit. Now it's ageism is what she's doing right there. All right, that's ageism. And we all know black don't crack, so I have no problem being 5 years older than her. But all right, so I'm not gonna say who chose what tie.
Thank you, Bird.
I'm not gonna say who chose what tie. If y'all out there, and we're gonna share this on our Facebook pages, and I'm probably gonna post this as a poll. But tell me,
which
okay,
tie?
Just don't say what you chose. Don't say what Bird chose. Don't say what I chose. Okay, we got this right here. All right. We just look at this shirt, the suit, this right here. All right. And I had these balled up in the car, so I apologize. But all right, look, okay. Once again, hey, you cannot influence. You can't be shaking and stuff. That's an influence in the audience. All right, so check that out. All right, now let's look at that. Okay. All right. What? Okay. Now we got that too. Okay, we got that too. And then finally, we got this one. All right, y'all. I don't care how y'all choose it. Y'all can put colors down. Y'all can put what number it was. But tell me, brothers, please, fellas, let me know
which
one you're choosing.
He should have worn.
I pride myself on being not a stylish like I got the latest styles because I don't spend money like that on clothes. But I know how to dress. I'm from Detroit. I know how to dress. Okay, so when I go to work, it's a suit every day. I know how to dress. Tell me which one you picked, and I'll let everybody know what I picked, what Birdie picked, and what Porn picked, and y'all will see what I go through on a daily basis when I'm trying to put something together. Okay, that is something that I want to hear from somebody because believe me, it's just not cool. It ain't cool. All right, so
yes,
$100. So this is just the first one. We're going to be promoting this like crazy this week, so you guys can see exactly what we're doing. The $100 I'll post as well as the poll for the ties. But
do they win anything for the tie?
No, because everybody's giving their opinion, so we're just looking at how many people chose a certain tie. But we want to donate to charities. We want to do some, like I said, some raffles. We want to do a his versus hers as far as contests, so we can see how the guys smash the women when it comes to competitive stuff. So we want to do all that. So please subscribe. Let your friends know. This is for a good cause. We're not out to sell you, on products that we have or our businesses or anything like that, even though that might come in time because I got some ideas. But this is just, first time. We wanted to kind of introduce ourselves to you guys. I've been watching podcasts like crazy to try to see what direction we should take. And to be honest, the big podcasts aren't the ones that have given me the most information. Mm-hmm. It's sometimes the smaller or niche podcasts. Joe Budden, rapper turned kind of talk show or podcast guy. He's given me a wealth of knowledge, with a smaller budget, with just telling facts, speaking the truth, and being consistent with what you do. So that's all I have to say. Win this $100. We probably only have 50 or 100 people the first time that we do the podcast next week. So you have a very good chance of picking up $100 real quick. Out of those 100, maybe 50 of them give their ideas. So you between 50 people, you got this. It's a done deal.
Nice.
Make that $100. Tell me what's going on with the tie, so we can get that out the way.
Yes.
And then I'll see you guys next week.
Yes.
You have something to say?
And if you know anybody who you feel would be a great benefit to our podcast, we do have some speakers pretty much lined up for the next 4 weeks. Next week we may or may not have somebody, maybe just us kind of introducing the different topics and things that we're going to discuss for the week. However, if you know anybody, please refer them to us. We would love to have them on our show. And I don't know.
Win this $100. That's what y'all do. Win this $100.
We'll have prizes and giveaways and tips every week. So we want it to be engaging, and we want to give, to the communities. I know that we're all hurting right now. And I know that, we just want to do good and give back. So
all right.
We'll see you next week.
Small businesses, give me your information so we can get it out there to whatever masses we have. And believe me, this will continue to grow. I'm into marketing, so I'm going to try my best to boost our audience, get everybody taking a look. But believe me, we're going to have fun. We're going to have people up here. Like I said, we're going to give away a little bit of cash. Have some open and honest conversations. And with that, I would say thank you very much for your time. Any questions, please let us know. Go to either our website or go to our Facebook page. Let us know what information you want to get out there or any questions that you might have. And let's keep this moving.
Every week at 6 p.m., same time, same place. And if you're in the Elgin area, once this whole thing, kind of settles down, then we might have some. No, we won't have anybody here watching live.
We know it's gonna be a while.
It's gonna be a while.
If the NBA can't have fans, I don't think we're gonna be able to have fans. But,
I said down the road, down the road, they can be here.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, if everything was, I'm just rambling now, but if everything was the way it usually was, we would be having
lots of people in here.
Women versus men's
yes.
Monopoly games and charades and all that good stuff, and then donate something to charity off of that. But we have to do what we have to do right now. Wear a mask. I don't care what anybody tell you. Wear a mask. Yes. If it decreases someone's chance by 5%, that's still 5%. So wear a mask. But other than that, we're out of here. I'll holler at y'all next week. Everybody be safe, please. Please keep the violence down. Let your voice be heard. If you want to protest, protest. Make sure that your voice is heard and your message is clear. And to be honest, I could care less about property. I don't want anybody to be hurt. Property is basically money which can change hands and be made up. A human life is valuable. So please, everybody be safe, and we'll talk to you next week. Deuces.
Bye. Thank you.
All right, how do we shut this off?
And live.
Okay.
Bye.